Here is another scam story in the Philippines. Brewers says I wanted to start this thread as safe space for scamming victims to share their stories. The normal reaction in an expat community when someone gets scammed seems to be attack the victim, but I feel it's important for people to get things like this off their chest, though. I'll start. I can't say I've ever lost a huge amount of money, mostly because for most of my time here until recently, I was broke as hell. But I did get scammed a little. There was a young lady I was smitten with, and she knew it. She told me she needed money for a board exam or something like that. I honestly can't even remember. I ended up sending her $200 for Tagalog lessons. But, surprise, surprise, those lessons never happened. At the time, $200 was a big deal to me. By the grace of God, they didn't cut off my electricity. What hurt the most wasn't even the money. It was the fact that I let myself get scammed. I've always thought of myself as thoughtful and diligent about these things, but in the end, I still fell for it. Let me unwrap this for a moment. A person that says they never had much money, so broke that they might turn off his electricity. Imagine being so broke that the electrical company will turn off your electricity, yet he still sends $200 to a random Filipina he is apparently smitten with. What a fool. Is this even a scam? Perhaps because she said she wanted the money for something that did not exist. But there is zero sympathy coming from myself for this individual. Yes, he wants this to be a place of positivity and not a negative space. However, how many more times do men need to be told, do not send money to anyone? If a woman cares about you, if she loves you, sees you in their future plans, they will not ask you for money despite their hardship, because they respect you as an individual, as a person, and they will depend on you to guide and lead them, not simply stick their hand out. And to save face. What happened to saving face? I thought Filipinos wanted to save face. Wasn't there such thing as saving face in Asia, where every country you're told they want to save face? What happened to that? What happened to Pinoy pride? What happened to all those things? I do not know. Bottom line, don't send money. It is that simple. Any girl asking you for money is a scammer on one level or another. Maybe small, 50, 100, 200, but you don't realize she's talking to dozens of men. It is a full-time job. Yes, this is true, whether we want to believe it or not. BMK says, money complicates things. I don't even give a loan money to any of my family or friends. Not giving money, unless you have known them for a long time, just avoids so many issues. Give money if you truly want to and are being generous, but consider it as a gift, nothing more. Busybody Visa says, not a scam per se, but when I first started my visa consultancy, I was green and I really do love doing visas and helping people. I met this couple. They were Jehovah's Witnesses. The woman was the American and her husband was a Filipino and the same age. She was just an online English teacher, but he wasn't working, so I knew they were not rich. So I decided to help them out. I didn't ask for money, but I figured they'd at least throw me a bone or something. I spent many hours doing their paperwork and preparing him for an interview. When his visa was approved, they were so jubilant, and they asked me out for lunch. I figured I'd at least get a free meal out of the deal. Much to my surprise, after we finished, they asked for separate checks. I was furious. I just got up and said, I'm so happy I was able to help you guys start your new lives together and for you buying me lunch, and walked out. They looked shocked as if they were victims. That experience taught me a valuable lesson: never work for free. After that, I started charging $200 for consultations, and it's done wonders for my business. Now I only deal with serious clients instead of people looking for free advice. People in the Philippines will always look for free advice. This happened to me just today, personally. The Philippines facts, the Philippines truth. I was outside buying a bottle of water. There was a bunch of kids around an ice cream stand. One girl said, ice cream. I felt bad, so I offered to buy her one ice cream I made it a little hush-hush because I know how these things work. By the time I walked over to the ice cream stand, which was about 15 feet away, at least 12 kids, no exaggeration, came out of the woodworks asking for ice cream. At that point, I simply walked away. I could not take it. Not because they were kids, but even at such a young age, they are trying to put one over me. I understand they're kids, but this is how it begins. This is how it starts. We could not ever go ahead and enable behavior like this. It was very obvious that it was planned by one of the older boys in the group, and the parents were somewhere nearby, I could tell. They thought, wow, a foreigner, he's rich, let's go ahead and everybody get something. It wasn't a 10 or 20 peso ice cream either. It was one of those ones where they had to make a waffle or something. Regardless, I feel like it was all planned. Maybe one of the kids' parents ran that ice cream shop, but not today. I walked away and even felt a little hurt that they would try to take my kindness for advantage. The Czar says, what floors me is how bald-faced people go out of their way to breathe a lie without a hint of conscience. But I've seen parents talk to the kids about doing exactly that with zero consideration to anything else but themselves. So unfortunately, it's a thing people learn when they're young with zero repercussions. Yes, the Philippines is similar to what this person said. No one seems to care about you or your feelings or how you earned your money or how much money you have. They all feel entitled to it just because they are financially in a bad situation. JB says, I don't agree with that because how can you expect people to trust you if you don't trust them? Diver, are you okay? Says, I got scammed at the airport on my first trip to the Philippines in 2015. I was far from everyone else waiting for a taxi, and a security guard with a shotgun, who I assume was a police officer, accosted me for vaping. He took my passport and said he would bring me to jail if I didn't pay him 10k pesos. All I had was 5k, which he took and let me go. I told that story to a friend I made while diving shortly after, who had been living here for a long time, and he said that I was definitely scammed. Ended up contacting the Minister of Tourism's office, and they contacted the airport administration's office. They said that there was no law against vaping there, only smoking. They sent me a photo lineup of every security guard working in that area that day, and I picked out the dude. They said they would take care of it. No clue what they did. For I know they probably just wanted his information because they wanted to make sure they got a cut of that 5k. I kicked myself later, but honestly, at the time I was kinda scared. The last thing I wanted was to end up in jail in the Philippines. A weirdo says how not to get scammed? Don't give money to anyone who asks for it, regardless if they are friends or family. I've been in the situation where I could have gotten scammed there, and I did once on a taxi. It was less than 10-minute drive, but yet I was charged 500 pesos. Being a lone female at the time, I didn't argue, and I was scared, so I just handed over the money. That's one more tip. Always make sure you have small bills, hundreds, fifties, even change. Do not let anyone take your money without your consent. If you want to tip someone, that's your prerogative, but don't let it be because they say they don't have change. How does a taxi driver handling money all day, every day, does not have change, or a food delivery driver? All of these people are here to scam you. Keep that in mind. Yes, I said it, all of them, because you are a simple target. When they see you, that's what they see, a walking ATM and nothing more. Recently, I saw a man who said he came to the Philippines and he was surprised that women were not throwing himself or themselves at him. I laughed inside thinking, what a fool. What a man who thinks at his age he can come here and somehow women would simply throw themselves at him. I laughed. This is the catfish of the day. How do you go from this to this? The best comment is, society and culture of scammers and users. Run guys, run. Back in the days I heard of these stories. Avoid the Philippines. Lost my appetite for paradise islands of the Philippines after 2019. There is no worse comment for that video. Subscribe, like, share, donate. Please the YouTube overlords. Thanks for watching. God bless.